Hello and welcome to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Monday, March 11th. This slate is a late NBA slate through and through. We got a ton of injuries. At least a lot of them we know about, but we're going to still get some curveballs with starting lineups, I'm sure. We're going to go over it all in this video. But before we do, come join us at LineStar. There's a couple easy ways you can try us out. If you have never tried us out before, go through the App Store, LineStar app. Download us, get the free trial. You can get 7 days free. That trial allows you access to the web and to the apps. Now, let's get into it. I think it's a fun one. A lot of stuff up in the air as far as what some starting lineups are going to be. And we're going to do our best to kind of walk through it all. But it is a wild slate. As always, starting on point guard at FanDuel, we got Jamal Murray coming in as the highest owned. He is 8,400, coming in at 27% owned. Now, I think a lot of these ownerships are going to change big time. I don't know if the newest news that just popped being Drew Holiday out is yet in our ownership. So understand that, because I do expect that to switch things up quite a bit. But Jamal Murray, look, he's in a fine spot versus Toronto. Toronto's big time beat up. Murray's been on a tear. I never mind a guy that's 8.4K and can give me, a 50, 55 point ceiling. And he's been around 50 a ton lately. So absolutely interesting going with a little Jamal Murray there. Next, we got Javon Freeman Liberty. Toronto's big time injured. There's no Manuel Quickly, no Gary Trent. So there's a lot of minutes for guards up for grabs. Javon may get some of them. He's played 18 and 3 straight. I do expect him to play a little bit more. I think there is the outside chance that he gets a starting spot. But the way he has been producing, as long as he gets 22, 24 minutes, he becomes interesting. But we need, more like 26, 28 to really have a ceiling with him. But I am intrigued. Absolutely. He's just too cheap not to at least consider. AO 6,200 is fine. I just think that on this slate at 6,200, we need a little more upside than he gives us. And now pivot-wise, we got Darius Garland, 7,600. Whole Cavs team is injured. No Strus, no Mobley, no Mitchell. It's going to be Darius Garland's show again, and we keep going back to that point guards versus Phoenix. So don't mind going there. I know he hasn't been great during this patch of him, running the team, but the team keeps winning, and they've been in games, and I'll go to him a little bit at lower ownership. Derek White, look, there's no Drew Holiday, no Kristaps Porzingis. There is going to be a lot more usage for White, Brown, and Tatum. I like all three of those guys. I like White. I expect his ownership to be higher than what we have right now. But it's a very good matchup, and he's 7,200, and he's given us 50 in the last couple weeks. So very intriguing. He can absolutely get us 40. And if he can give us a 50 burger like he has multiple times this season, then he becomes super, super interesting. So I like White, I like Tatum, I like Brown. I just don't know if I'd have all three of them in the same lineup. Probably stick to at least two of the three. All right, and that is what we got at point guard. We're going pretty thin at point guard at this moment. Now on to DK. We got Javon Freeman Liberty, Luka Doncic, and Jamal Murray. Look, all of them are good. I'm down with all of them. There's a ton of value, so we can absolutely pay up for the Lukas and Jokic's of the world. And really, I like either one, Jokic or Doncic. Probably not trying to put both of them in my lineup, although with all this value, we absolutely probably can. We should also probably bring up Peyton Pritchard. I do expect Pritchard to play some more minutes, but he hasn't started at all this season, I believe. So I don't think he's going to pop into the starting lineup for Drew. I do think it's probably still Sam Hauser, and either Jaylen Brown or Hauser plays the 2 with White at the 1. But there is going to be more minutes for Pritchard. Maybe his 20 minutes or 18 minutes a game goes up to 24-ish, and at that, he could definitely get it done. It just depends on if his shot's falling or not. So definitely intrigued with a little Pritchard, and he's another value option for us. Now let's get over to the matchup tool. Point guards, Darius Garland at the very top, Kobe White right there. I do think White's pretty interesting. Will take a few swings, and Jamal Murray is popping up a little bit as well. Getting over to shooting guard on FanDuel, we got Grady Dick, Karis LeVert, and Io. So Grady Dick is going to be a prime candidate for extra minutes. He started last game, played 39 minutes. Now even more guys are out, so you got to expect that he's going to get those minutes. Now, he disappointed in his start playing all those minutes, but he is a guy that can get hot and hit a couple threes, and if that happens, his score should be there. Do I love him in this spot? No, but I think he's cheap enough and he's going to play the minutes that he is intriguing to me. Karis LeVert, with all the injuries, LeVert should get some solid minutes here. He started. Dean Wade is also out now, so I think he does fill back into the starter spot, and tonight I think we likely see him with that 32, 34 minutes, something like that, versus Suns team that's not great versus guards. I'm at least intrigued to go there. Now, some pivots. White we talked about. Brandon Podimski, talked about him the other day with Curry out. He does become very interesting. I think he played 31 minutes last game. I think he's going to be right around there, maybe even 32. Chris Paul is only going to play 28, 29 minutes. So there's a lot of minutes up for grabs for that, those guard positions. And I think Brandon Podimski is going to get a lot of them. We know he has a big ceiling if he gets it going. And in a very good matchup, I'm intrigued to go with Podimski here at not that high of ownership. So definitely intrigued with that play. Jaylen Brown, absolutely intrigued on Jaylen Brown. Anytime that, one of their big stars is out, the other guys look much better. In this case, 2 stars are out. So you gotta like Brown, Tatum, and White in this situation. Looks like we got a little update there. But all right. So yeah, Derek White's ownership came up a little bit. Jaylen Brown we just went over, and we will move it over to DK shooting guard. Highest owned, Javon Freeman, Liberty, Karis LeVert, Grady Dick. Talked about them all. A lot of value on this slate, man. Definitely am pretty interested in Brandon Miller again at 7,200. We've just seen a very, very solid ceiling from him. He's going to play a ton of minutes. Been right around 36, 37, 38, 3 of the last 4. And I don't see that ending anytime soon. He's been playing pretty solid, and they need him. On to the matchups. Podimski at the very top, Brandon Miller right underneath that, and Ayo. Do want to point out that Grady Dick actually has one of the harder matchups on the slate. One thing, though, is he's going to be out there regardless, so if he's out there getting those minutes, he can score fantasy points. On to small forward, Grady Dick, Karis LeVert, Davis Bertans. Bertans been playing really well off the bench. 28 minutes, 32, 26, 26. So he's getting those minutes. I expect those minutes to stay. The only thing here is he's, 0.87 fantasy per minute guy. With his limited minutes, he's got to really get hot to pay off on this salary. And at high ownership, makes me a little worried to want to go there too much. Now, pivots. Brandon Miller. Just talked about him a little bit. Hit on it again. Guy has a huge ceiling for 7K. He can hit you 50. He can hit you high 40s. Getting a ton of minutes in a good matchup, definitely intrigued to go there, as well as Miles Bridges. With Trey Mann out, Bridges' fantasy points per minute have come up again. Gave us 55 the other day, 42 last game. It's playing just an absolute ton of minutes, and he can get there on any type of night. I don't mind going to him tonight. Back to a Toronto player, Bruce Brown. Look, he's missed multiple days. I believe he is still questionable. Don't really know what's going to happen here, but if we don't hear any news of, big time limits, he is extremely interesting. If he only plays 24.5 minutes like we have currently projected, he is still interesting, but that ceiling just won't be there, and that's the big issue there. I do worry about the ceiling a little bit if he doesn't, say, start. So, not totally sure what Toronto is going to do. Toronto is a spot we got to wait and see throughout the day to see what's going on there. But as of now, I am intrigued. Jason Tatum, it's the same thing with the Celtics as we went over. Dude has been absolutely on fire lately, and Celtics are missing, two key players. So it becomes interesting. And a total punt, Jalen McDaniels. He played 25 minutes last game. Played pretty well. There's a chance he gets, that extra run again. Once again, we don't know what this Raptors team is going to do today. They have a ton of injuries, could go a lot of different ways. Just wanted to put him there. If he's a surprise start, or you hear anything about them trying to get a longer look at him, absolutely interesting at 3,600. Even as it is now, he's getting, no ownership, and he's pretty much minimum price. So intriguing in a team that is going to be shorthanded today, and we're not really even sure how many active players they have at this point, but it's not a lot. On to small forward on DraftKings, Levert, Dick, Tatum. Talked about them all. Moving over to the matchups. And Michael Porter Jr. at the very top. Alex Caruso, Grace Allen, Jonathan Kuminga. I'm interested in all of them. I think it's a very good matchup for Michael Porter. My worry here is that it could be just a giant blowout and he doesn't play enough minutes. But if somehow Toronto stays into it, we've seen Porter Jr. with some huge games lately. 59, 59, 51, all in the last couple weeks. So he's got to be on your radar a little bit. However, they likely just get totally blown out, and he doesn't play enough minutes to get there. But Denver's not a team you probably want to totally fade tonight. You probably want to have some interest in them. And power forward for FanDuel. Highest owned, Trace Jackson Davis. He did start last game. We have him starting again today. He only played 24 minutes, though, so not huge upside in the minutes. Then we got Grant Williams and Michael Porter Jr. I'm kind of fading the high-owned power forward right now. Going to Miles Bridges, going to Jason Tatum, going to George Niang. Thing with Niang is, so he's been starting, played 26, 25, and then had his 36-minute game. Now, we have Dean Wade out also, as well as Evan Mobley. I think they're going to have to put Niang out there for a decent amount. We got him at 32 minutes. Now, the guy can hit shots, so if he hits a couple, he gets a little hot. He definitely can get into the 40s and give you, 40-plus point score at 5,200. It's an okay matchup. I don't mind going there whatsoever. I do expect him to play minutes because he's going to have to. And power forward on DK, Jason Tatum, Jordan Nwora, and Davis Bertans. Nwora is a guy that has a pretty good fantasy per minute output, 1.02 over the last 20 games coming off the bench. We just don't know how many minutes he's going to play. They have been very careful with his minutes. Even starting, he only played 14 the other night. So I worry big time on if they really put him out there and give him all the minutes. But he is, an intriguing talent at least. Power forward matchups, we got Aaron Gordon, Jeremy Shokan, and DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan's definitely interesting. Sokan's interesting. Gordon's interesting. Yang is interesting. He is up there, as well as Tatum. All could get it done. And centers tonight, Trace Jackson-Davis, Nikola Jokic, Kelly Olynyk are the high-owned guys. Look, pretty much all of Denver is in a good spot. This Toronto team just has not been very good lately, so definitely intrigued to go to any of them. If Toronto keeps it close, there's going to be a lot of value on that side, and one or two of the Nuggets guys absolutely go off. So this is a game that you could game stack. And if I'm playing, more than one Denver guy, I probably am game stacking this one, because only way I see Denver really getting there is if a Toronto guy or two goes with him. So it is a bit of an intriguing game, but the 16-point total is a little scary. And Kelly Olynyk, look, Toronto's going to have to give him minutes. He's been in the 40s. 3 of 5 games. 3 of the last 5 games, 2 of 3 starting. So definitely intrigued. It's not the easiest matchup with Jokic, but he's going to be asked to do a decent amount on this offense, so it makes sense. Jalen Duren versus Charlotte Hornets is fairly intriguing to me. So Winnie, is not in foul trouble. He's playing 31, 32 minutes, and he can absolutely torch this Hornets team. I mean, most centers can. So do not mind going to Duren. We know he has a giant ceiling. 27-22 in 37 minutes versus Portland, 22-21 versus OKC, 20 versus 19 versus Washington. All three are, decent matchups to center. So if he gets that matchup, he can absolutely do it. And I think this is a decent one for him at lower ownership. So I'm intrigued to go there, as I am DeAndre Ayton. Ayton just had a giant game. Played 40 minutes versus Toronto and put up 60. The guy, when he's motivated, when he wants to play, does very well. There's no Porzingis on the other side. It will be Horford. Horford is solid defensively, but at least he's, giving up some size to Ayton. I don't mind Ayton. And if the Trailblazers keep into this game, it's likely because either Simmons or Ayton or Jeremy Grant gets hot. And Jeremy Grant is questionable, so understand that as well. And that will do it for the center spot on FanDuel. Moving over to DraftKings, Trace Jackson-Davis, Nikola Jokic, and Grant Williams. Grant Williams is fine, just don't love the upside, but he can absolutely get there, and this is a good matchup. And matchup tool-wise, we got Trace Jackson-Davis, Victor Wembanyama, and Jalen Duren. I got to talk about Wemby. So he's coming off 2 games of being out. I want to bring up how Coach Pop has just been so careful with Wemby, as he probably should. They're not like this. Spurs are winning anything this year, but pretty much every time he's missed a game, he has come back and only played, limited minutes. 28, 27, 24, 22, 32. So one game where he played a lot, but pretty much every single time that he's missed time, he's came back and been held to 28 less minutes. There was one time that he played more. So I think we have 30 on him right now. That's just kind of what he's been playing, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 26 to 28 tonight instead of 30. Now, this guy can absolutely get it done in 26 minutes, but it's just you need, a ton of blocks, ton of steals for it to actually happen. Just want to say my worry about going him. Now, if you told me he's getting 31 minutes, I would be slamming him. But I do have a little bit of worry about his minutes for tonight. And that will do it for us tonight. It's a fun one, a lot to consider as the day goes on, and just make sure you pay attention to news. This late season NBA DFS thing can get a little wild around locks, so stay attentive, and try and free up a little bit of that time to really dig in and stay attentive to the news. All right, guys, good luck. Let's make some money, and I will see you guys back tomorrow. Bye.